You people are probably trying to wonder why Fangy isn't allowed to show his belly button. Well, you he's not just showing his belly button to only his friends. He's showing it to like everyone. Like when I mean everyone, I don't just mean his friends. I mean like people, like everyone, especially people he doesn't know. Like it's the way. So yeah, the way Fangy. The reason why Fangy shouldn't show his belly button is like the way he's doing it. He's like running up to people, like not only people he knows and really likes. He's even doing it to like random people, like strangers and people who he doesn't know. He's just yeah, and the way he like he like shows his belly button to like random people, like people who don't like it. Like he just runs up to them and just pulls up his shirt and shows his belly button. So yeah, like imagine if Fangy or someone did that to you. They just like ran or walked up to you and they just pulled up their shirt and said, "Look at my belly button." Yeah, you probably wouldn't like it. Yeah, it's like it can be like rude or like really aggressive. Yeah. It's like I would say it's like harassment maybe. It's kind of like harassment like but I just say it's like just being mean. Yeah. Yeah, this is why Fangy his friends always tells him to stop like not show his belly button like yeah, you heard like when Kathy said it's kind of disgusting when you show it to people. Yeah, like he means like it. Yeah, and the reason why his belly button is disgusting, it's because people just thinks it. It's because it smells bad. Like it has like this like dirty smell in it, and people are always like complaining about the smell and that Fangy's belly button. It reeks. It's reeking up, and everyone says it smells bad. And they're like, sorry, I'm trying to open a drink, and it's like sealed shut. Okay, got it. But yeah, never try to do what Fangy does. Don't ever try and show your belly button the way Fangy does it, because the way he does it can actually be pretty illegal. It's rude, and it can probably be illegal even. And you know what? Yeah, just don't just show your belly button and like if you're gonna show your belly button, just do it in the crop top way. Don't run up to someone and pull like uncover it, because if you're wearing something that doesn't show your belly button, please don't run up to somebody and then uncover your belly button and say, "Look at my belly button," because it's probably not gonna turn out it's probably not gonna turn out great. It's yeah. So yeah, when Fangy like pulls up. Yeah, so this is the part when when Fangy realizes that he has this idea that he's gonna put up a picture frame of his belly button. So yeah, we do see the part where he pulls up his shirt. Well, he like photographs himself showing his belly button. He like somehow, I don't know, like it's like I wouldn't say he's like taking a selfie of himself. Maybe let's say he just it's kind of like this kind of camera, I don't know. It's like a camera like you just get it, like you just like give it like a set, you like and then you allow it to like take a picture of you. Or I don't know what these call. You just like give it like the time to start and you get the camera to work. Like you just put in this type of mode or whatever it is. Maybe like when the time is set, you run in front of. It's like these kinds of cameras where when you, I don't know what they're called. I don't even know how to explain it, but like when you like turn on the camera, you have to like run in front of it before it takes a picture, so it can take a picture of you. It's something like that. Like maybe like Fangy used one of those, or maybe he told someone he knew that they weren't going to accept them to take a picture of his belly button. He probably said, like, when you take a picture, he says, get a good picture of me, and he says, now close your eyes. Basically, he told them to close their eyes, and they close their eyes while they take a picture of him. And he says, and don't look at what you just, and he says, and don't look at the picture that comes out of the camera, like, and then Fangy just takes it, and then he says, people are kind of, like, they get suspicious, like, why not look at it? Fangy just runs away. He says, you don't need to know, it's for everyone else only, and that's when he puts it in the frame, and then everyone sees it, all his friends sees it, and that's when Danny shows up and sees the picture. Let's say Fangy wasn't really walking by, maybe he wasn't looking at it. Maybe you could say he was looking at it, let's say he was just walking by. He says hi. Maybe he just stopped next to it when he saw Danny, but then Danny says, hey, what's that next to you? Fangy doesn't know. He says, next to me. He doesn't realize what he's pointing at. He says, next. He says, huh? And somehow he's like, he doesn't realize he's pointing at his frame. He says picture, and then he says, oh no. He realizes that Danny sees his picture. He doesn't know what it's a picture of yet, but like when he gets closer, when he tries to get a closer look, he sees that it's like his belly button. Yeah, and this is why you should not, this is why Fangy's like being told not to show his belly, like have his belly button shown and like have his belly button revealed in any like picture format, video format, or like drawn. And this is like the part, and then we come to the next part where Fangy paints his belly button and on the picture of we see Fangy puts his, and when we see, and this is the part where Fangy realizes this is when Fangy starts to take things too far. This is the part where you know how like you see like these dry bulk tanker trucks? Here, I'll show you what they look like. After Fangy gets told to take down the picture frame, he's not done yet. He doesn't think his belly button should just be left like never shown. He just wants at least everybody to see his belly button. Yeah, these kinds of trucks. These are a dry bulk truck. So yeah, this is when Fangy puts his belly button on a dry bulk truck because since he wasn't allowed to put his belly button in a picture frame, so that's when he decides to draw his belly button on the trailer of one of these dry bulk trucks. Not only does everybody else like saw and they're like, why is Fangy's belly button on that tanker truck? Or maybe dry bulk truck. He says, why is Fangy's belly button on that truck? Yeah, so he has to draw his belly button. He has to draw himself showing his belly button on a truck since Danny and his friends won't let him let him frame a picture of himself showing his belly button. So he has to draw a portrait of himself showing his belly button on a tanker truck. But then later, let's say later when we see he realizes there's cop cars that pulled over the tanker truck, and then he's just hiding when he realizes that the police are out. He says, uh-oh. He realizes that the truck the truck driver realized that Fangy's belly button was on it, so the truck was pulled over by a police car, and then there was maybe he sees it as let's say he saw it when he was taking a ride in Walkie's car. Walkie didn't, although Walkie saw it before, but his car came across it again, but that time Walkie didn't see it. Fangy saw it, but he's like, uh-oh. He knew he was gonna get in trouble. He says, maybe, let's say Walkie didn't see the lights, although, this is the part, Walkie was going past, but yeah, then Walkie came across the tanker truck, or the dry bulk truck, yeah. But this time he didn't see it. He just was paying too much attention to where he was going. He didn't see the police car with its lights on. Even Fangy did, though, and he knew he was busted. Well, almost. Well, he was barely busted. He said, he didn't. He just looked at it like, uh-oh. He just made a look on his face. And then he gazes at Walkie, and Walkie's like, what? Why are you giving me that face? Fangy says, sorry, it's nothing. And then Walkie gets suspicious. And then, although he doesn't remember to yell at him, well, maybe let's say he did get upset at him for showing his belly button. Although, this time, he came across the tanker truck, or dry bulk, sorry. I keep calling it a tanker truck because it is a tank. But, like, he comes across the truck again, but Walkie doesn't see it this time. And even the police car. He was afraid Walkie was gonna see it. Maybe let's say he distracts him by saying, he says, he looks at something on the left. He says, maybe let's say it was at a left turn signal water. Sorry, he says, what about, you see the left turn signal water tower right there? He says, yeah, what about it? It's pretty cool. Yeah. He's just trying to, and then, but then the light turns green because Walkie says, oh, gotta go. But yeah, he was like, phew, that was close. If Walkie saw the tanker truck with his, like, if Walkie found the tanker truck with his belly button again, this time with the police investigating it, including the truck driver just shocked to see it. And that's when everyone else is like, what in tarnations is this? But, like, he just sees, like, maybe let's say Walkie sees a whole crowd. He says, well, that's a big crowd. And everyone's like, he doesn't see the tanker truck with Fangy's belly button on it. And then Fangy, he says, oh, that's a... At first, Walkie doesn't realize why people are staring at the truck. Like, staring at it like, oh my gosh. He's just staring at it like, oh my gosh, and then he's... Sorry to stop talking, and then... But Walkie's like, I don't know what's the matter with those people. He doesn't realize they're looking at the truck. Well, then Fangy looks at them. He's trying to see what they're looking at, but then he's shocked. He sees there's a police car like, next to the tanker truck with its lights on, and he sees that it was the same truck he put his belly button on. He's like, uh-oh. Fangy knew he was gonna, he was like, well, he doesn't say it out loud, he's like, but yeah, he was like, uh-oh, I'm busted. He realized, yeah, he thought he was gonna go to jail, but he barely got found. Well, let's just say the truck driver didn't know who Fangy was. He says, I don't know who did this. Everybody, he says, turns out it's just some dude showing his belly button. Yeah, let's say he wrote, look at my belly button on it. Just some dude. He's like, I don't know who this guy is, but he just drew there's just a picture of somebody saying, look at my belly button. They're showing their belly button. It's kind of funny, to be honest. I just think it's so funny. Let's say it was let's say that the person said that. Maybe say the truck driver is actually our main character, Victor. He's that side. Or maybe let's say it's someone else. I could make up another truck driver character. Let's say it is someone Fangy knows, although he didn't realize it was Fangy who did it. He didn't blame Fangy for it. And here comes... And so here's when Fangy, he realizes that he can't put his belly... That's when Fangy realized he can't put his belly button on a tanker truck or any, like, type of semi-truck. He can't put his belly button on a semi-truck. He can't put it on a car carrier. Yeah, therefore he can't put his belly button on any kind of truck. He can't put it on a garbage truck, can't put it on a fire truck, he can't put it on an ice cream truck, a dump truck, a cement truck, a tanker truck. Yeah, he can't put it on any kind of truck, not even any type of semi-truck. Yeah, he can't put it on, like, can't put his belly button on a freight truck, can't put it on a box truck, can't put it on a delivery truck, can't put it on a he can't put it on a tanker truck, a car carrier, or a fire truck, or... Sorry to mention the same stuff again, but I just wanted to explain it a different way. But yeah, he can't put it on a box truck, he can't put his belly button on a delivery truck, or a garbage truck, or an ice cream truck, or fire truck, or cement truck, or dump truck, or like, he can't put his belly button on a whatever truck there is. Okay, that was just the dogs, I'm sorry about that, but yeah, he can't put his belly button on any truck. He just has to put his belly button. Guess he says, well, if I can't put my belly button on a truck, yep, and he especially can't put his belly button on a dry bulk truck. He can't put it on, and even if it's a small truck, like a pickup truck, he still can't put his belly button on it, although it'd be easier to put it on it'd be easier and more visible to see on a semi-truck, even if it's a tanker truck. That's one thing you realize. He says, if I can't put my belly button on a picture frame, and I can't put it on a tanker truck, and I can't put it on a semi-truck, doesn't matter if it's a box truck, tanker truck, or like flatbed truck. Well, I don't think he'd be able to put on a flatbed truck. Maybe like on one of the cars maybe if it's a car, maybe he could put it on like a freight truck. Maybe he could only put it on like a box truck or a tanker truck. Maybe he could put it on a flatbed truck if the flatbed truck has like boxes on it, or like a cargo container on it. He could just draw his belly button on it. He could draw his belly button on a cargo container. Although, yeah. But then when Fangy realizes he can't put his belly button on a truck either, he thinks that maybe he should put it on a billboard. Let's say his next belly button canvas, is, we wouldn't say victim, let's say it's his next canvas. Let's say he put it on the shed. He put it on a shed. He put it on somebody's shed, and everyone's like, who put Fangy? Why is Fangy's belly button on that shed? Let's say and then somebody's like, he just snuck into somebody's yard. Let's say he snuck into Boomer's yard, and like his front yard. Or like maybe like the shed was like next to his house, and Fangy just drew his belly button, and Boomer the bomb. We know Boomer was a bomb. You saw him with Sid the Rainbow when he was singing that silly version of Life is a Highway, and then Boomer, let's say he drew his belly button on Boomer's shed, and Boomer didn't. He did it in the middle of, let's say he was doing it at nighttime while Boomer was sleeping. He was like, I am sleeping 'cause I'm minding my time. Or he's sleeping, so he doesn't realize Fangy. Let's say he had security cameras, well, although he wasn't paying attention, although maybe his alarm went off. Let's say he doesn't have an alarm. He was guarding his shed, but when he shows, maybe like with this one time when Danny fucking out, maybe like when Danny's out, this time Boomer is outside, and then Danny spots it before Boomer. This is when he realizes Fangy's belly button. When Boomer realizes it, that Fangy's belly button's on his shed is when Danny sees it. Before Boomer realizes that Fangy's belly button's on the shed, Danny finds it, and then he tells Boomer that Fangy. He says, did Fangy just draw his belly button on your shed? And Boomer says, what? Let me see. He says, what? I didn't see that. He says, well, I didn't see that. And Boomer gets upset. And then Fangy says, he sees Boomer, he hears Boomer yelling. He says, and then he realizes that. He says, whoever did this, says, whoever put your friend showing his belly button on my shed, I'm gonna kick their butt. And then Fangy says, uh-oh, he heard it while he was coming. He saw it and heard it while he was coming outside. When he realized Boomer was yelling at Danny because he saw his belly, because Fangy put his belly button, Fangy just rushed back inside. And then he just peeks and he opens the window, and they didn't hear, now at least Danny and Boomer didn't hear Fangy coming outside, because it would have been too late to run for, like, hide and take cover. Because Fangy, and yeah, he was looking at them through the window, and then that's when Fangy realized he probably shouldn't have put his. He says that if he can't put his belly button on any one shed, then maybe he should. If he can't put his belly button on a picture frame, and he can't put it on a truck or a shed, then maybe he should put it somewhere. Maybe he should have done it on one, and then he puts it on, and then let's say maybe Fangy draws his belly button on a. Let's say he drew it on a. He put his belly button on a billboard. He just put a new sign on a billboard, and then people driving by sees his belly button on a billboard. It says, "Look at my belly button," and it's funny. And then this is when Fangy was minding his own business, Danny. And then Danny comes back home. He knows where the belly button is. And then when he finds the belly button, he comes towards Fangy. And then he says, and then he tells he tells Matthew that, or like the raccoon, he's one of my stronglings, he's a raccoon strongling. He tells him, he tells him that he has to get Fangy's belly button off that billboard. Yeah, I know he's like a painter, or like someone who like paints like stuff. He's not an artist. He's like, you know how like people like, he's not an artist. He uses paint to like repaint whatever has to be repainted, like the left turn signal, water towers. He also like changes like billboards when they have to be changed, and he tells them to take the belly button of, like, picture of Fangy's belly button off the billboard he just put up. And because somehow Fangy put his belly button on a billboard. Although Fangy that's when Fangy comes walking by, before Fangy shows up, and then Matthew yells at Fangy. He says, "Listen here, Fangy, I can't believe you just put your belly button on a billboard." He says, "You can't advertise your belly button, you jerk." He says, if you put up another picture of your belly button on a billboard and I have to come and take it off." Let's say he said something that scared Fangy, and then Fangy says, I'm gonna report you. I'm gonna call the police. Maybe let's say he says, I don't know what he should say, I'm gonna splat. But maybe he says, if you put another picture of your belly button on a billboard and I have to come and take it off, I'm gonna splatter you. He says, I'm gonna dump a whole bucket of paint on your head. Or, yeah, maybe let's say he said something like that, or like, I'm gonna dump a bucket of paint on ya, or I'm gonna, like, cover you in paint. And then Fangy's like, and that's when Fangy's like, oh no. Yep, the billboard was a bad idea too. Yeah, never try to advertise your belly button. Never try to convince people to watch videos. Like if your belly button's like something, I don't know what it's called. It's funny, like, I know it can be funny to you, but to other people, it's gross. But yeah. When Fangy does this, he gets in trouble. Or maybe let's say he says, I'm gonna call the police on. Or maybe let's say he says, he says if you put your belly button on a billboard, and like on another billboard, and I have to come and take it off. He says, and then I have to come and take it off. He says, if you put your belly button on another billboard and I have to come and take it off, I'm gonna call the police. Maybe let's say he says, I'm gonna call the police on you. Or he says, I'm gonna dump a whole bunch of different colors of paint on you. Either that, or he's gonna tell the governor that you're putting your belly button all over everything. He says, I'm gonna report you to the police. And then Fangy's like, oh no. Yeah, he realized if he ever puts his belly button on another billboard where Matthew has to come and remove it. Matthew's gonna call the police on Fangy, and Fangy would be busted big time. Yeah, especially when he almost got busted when he defaced a truck and a shed. But then, so Fangy says, well, if I can't put my belly button on a billboard, and I can't put my belly button on a shed, and I can't put my belly button on a truck, and I can't put my belly button on a picture frame. Yeah, because of course he's going to be forced to take down the picture frame. Because he says, ah, dang. But then that's when Fangy says, maybe, he says, now it's time to do something bigger. He says, he has to go for, this is the part where he has to find the most public place he can put his belly button. He's got to find the most public place he can draw his belly button. So, like, the most public place he can put it, where everyone can see his belly button. Like, this is the part where he says, and that would be one of the left turn signal water towers. Now this is going to be a lot worse. Not only was he just showing his belly button, now another reason why Fangy shouldn't be showing his belly button is because when people thinks it's gross, some people actually gets like nauseous when they see when Fangy shows his belly button to them. But yeah, I should have mentioned that before, like Fangy realizing that he shouldn't be putting his belly button all over everything, and then Fangy puts his belly button on the water tower, and it says, "Look at my belly button," right next to the like self-portrait of him showing his belly button, and then everybody sees it, including his friends. Every time his friends spots it, and actually one time, and one of his friends, due to them reacting to the water tower, it actually caused them to get into an accident, and that would be Fangy's friend Lockie. It caused him to get into an accident, which it was a real bad idea. Fangy, let's say that when Lockie comes home, he comes home angry at Fangy. He says, "Fangy!" He says, "My car got rear-ended." Yeah, he stopped because he was shocked. He came to he just slammed on the brakes, and he's like, because he's shocked, and he's staring at his belly. He's staring at Fangy's belly button on the water tower, yelling. He says, "Is that Fangy's belly button on the water tower?" And then he gets rear-ended, and as he's says, "What is that?" But that's right as he stops and tries and says, "Is that Fangy's?" He says, "Is that Fangy's belly button?" And then the car rear ends him. And then he says, "Oh," he says, "Wait a second, is that Fangy's belly button?" He's trying, but like as he's stopping and saying, "Is that Fangy's belly button on the water tower?" he gets rear ended, and he causes a pile up. Like one car rear ends him, and then another one rear ends that one, and then another one rear ends that one thing, and then he says, "Ah, dang!" And then he gets out of his car, and then the four cars got involved, or maybe he wouldn't say involved, but joined the pile up, and then the 4 drivers that Lockie caused to hit him, they got mad at him. Lockie said, "Oh, I'm sorry." He says, "I am terribly sorry." He says, "You have insurance, right?" They said, "Yeah." And he says, I got my insurance too." He says, "I am terribly sorry. I was just shocked by that water tower." When they see Fangy's belly button on the water tower, they get scared. They say, "Oh no, let's get out of here." They rush back into their cars, and then they uncouple from which car they rear end, and they drive away. And Fangy says, "That darn Fangy." He gets in his car, and when he gets back with his car, he was gonna, and the reason where And this is where he was trying to get to. The reason why he got... So this is where Lockie was at. Lockie was actually trying to go to the train museum, but due to the fact that he saw Fangy's belly button on the water tower and it caused an accident, he's like, ah! And Lockie comes home angry. He says, your silly old belly button. He says, your silly old belly button on a water tower caused me to get into an accident. He yells, Lockie's angry at Fangy, and then he tells Fangy that. He says, you need to think about your actions, man. Well, let's say he says that after he says, your silly old belly button water tower. He says your silly old belly button, which is now on a left turn signal water tower, caused me to get into an accident with 4 cars. And then he says, you need to think about your actions, or let's say you have to think before you do something, or let's just say he has to think, like he tells him that he has to think about his actions. And then he says, oh, come on, man, don't make it where I have to be traumatized and told not to put my belly button on a water tower. Maybe before, or let's say, yeah, maybe we should make a scene where he puts his belly button on a hot air balloon. Maybe let's say he puts his belly button on a blimp before the water tower. But yeah, when he puts his belly button on the blimp, he gets told, but yeah, everyone reacts to it. But I know we're on the water tower scene right now, but the water tower should be saved for last. But right now we should probably do the blimp part, which comes after the billboard, and then the blimp gets Fangy in trouble. Maybe let's say he puts it... I'll tell you what actually happens. I'll put some more scenes on, then... But yeah, the water tower, Fangy gets in trouble for defacing a water tower. And then when Fangy puts his belly button on the water tower, this is when Fangy finally learns his lesson. Now let's say the other things Fangy put his belly button on. Let's say, I know he first put his belly button on a picture frame, but then he had to start defacing everything. Let's say he put his belly button, the first thing he put his belly button on was on a tanker truck. Then, let's say it was a train, he put it on Boomer's shed. Let's say he drew it on a train car, maybe a tanker car, and then he put his belly button on the house, like his own house. Then he, like him and his friends' house, and then he put his belly button on the billboard. And then he puts it on the blimp. Let's say he also put it on an airplane, which, well, I don't know about an airplane. Yeah. Airplanes move a bit too fast and probably wouldn't be visible to see Fangy's belly button on the airplane. So let's say he just puts it on a blimp, and then he puts it on a storage tank, and then he puts his belly button on, maybe let's say that he puts it on a storage tank, and then the last thing he puts it on is one of the left turn signal water towers, and that's what gets Fangy in big trouble. But then after he puts his belly button on the water tower, Danny says, he explains, this is when Fangy explains, he finally asks why. He asks Danny, he says, but Danny, man, why can't I show my belly button? Then he asks why people thinks his belly button is gross, and why he should never put his belly button on any, never draw his belly button on anything, or frame his belly button or post it anywhere ever again. And then this is when Danny explains to him why, and then he says it's the way you show your belly button. He even asks why he should never show it to anyone again, and he's like, he says, oh, and this is when Fangy understands why he should never show his belly button. But this would be in a later episode. I want Fangy to show his belly button a few more times, and then let's say when like after the episode. Hold on, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, Fangy is yeah, let's say like in the episodes, like even after the like part after like the episode where he learned his lesson not to show his belly button. Now, like some of those episodes, we may see Fangy trying to show his belly button to himself only, but then sometimes while he's trying to show his belly button alone, sometimes people sees it. He might show it to someone accidentally. He says, "Oops, sorry, I didn't know your belly. I didn't know you could see it." So that's when he puts his belly button away because somebody yeah. This is the part where, like after the episode where he learns his lesson, and now in the other episodes and seasons, he's just trying. Maybe that you won't see him show his belly button anymore, except to the enemies, or the antagonists, because he's just trying to gross them out. But yeah, that's how the Fangy belly button story ends.